want to explain about copy and array comment. First, copy. The abbreviation of this command is the copies object to a specified distance in a specified direction. With the copy mode system variable, you can control whether multiple copies are created automatically. Use an object selection method and press enter when you finish. First, you should specify the objects and press spacebar or enter. Specify base point or displacement or mode. Displacement specifies a relative distance and direction using coordinates. The 2 points you specified define a vector that indicates how far from the original the copied objects are to be placed and in what direction. If you press enter at the specified second point prompt, the first point is interpreted as a relative XYZ displacement. Mode controls whether the command repeats automatically copy mode system variable. Single creates a single copy of selected objects and end the command. Multiple overrides the single mode setting. The copy command is set to repeat automatically for the duration of the command. Specify the base form, for example this one, and the direction 5000 and 0. This one 5000 less than key minus 40. With angle. Another one. Select the object. Base point. Array. Type A. Number of items to array. Array, arrange a specified number of copies in a linear array. Number of items to array specifies the number of items in the array include the original select set. And second point determines a distance and direction for the array relative to the base point. By default, the first copy in the array is positioned at the specified displacement. The remaining copies are positioned in a linear array beyond that point using the same incremental displacement. Fit positions the final copy in the array at the specified displacement. The other copies are fit in a linear array between the original selection set and the final copy. The number of items to array for example, zero and 1000. This is the number of array copy. Now I want to explain array comment. The abbreviation of this comment is AR. Creates copies of objects arranged in a pattern. You can create copies of objects in a regularly spaced rectangular, polar, or path array. rectangle path polar. The del_op system variable controls whether the source objects of the array are deleted or retained after the array is created. First, you should select object as array. And for paths, evenly distributes copies of the selected object along a path or a portion of a path. Press spacebar, path, you can change the items, rows, or stuff like that. For example, and the rectangular array distributes copies of the selected object into any combination of rows, columns, and levels. For example, select the object, columns 2, rows 2, and you can change the distance between the copies. And polar. Polar array evenly distributes copies of the object in a circular pattern around a center, points, or axis of rotation. Attribute objects can't be arrayed and are automatically filtered from the selection set. In the next session, I'm going to continue explaining about another modifier. In this session, I want to explain about trim and extend comments. Trims objects to meet the edge of other objects. To trim objects, select the boundaries and press enter. Then select the objects that you want to trim. To use all objects as boundaries, press enter at the first select objects prompt. The abbreviation of this comment is TR. Cutting edge, crossing, move, project, erase. The very easy way is to press enter and trim. Some explanation about cutting edge, crossing, project, erase, or another one. Cutting edge specifies one or more objects to be used as a boundary for the trim. Trims projects the cutting edges and the objects to be trimmed onto XY plans on the current user coordinate system. To select cutting edge that includes blocks, you can use only the single selection, crossing, fence, and select all options. For selecting objects, you should select object individually. For object trim, specify the object to trim if more than one trim result is possible. The location of the first selection point determines the result. Switch between trimming and extending comment. When you hold the shift, you can select to extend comment. Extends the selected object rather than trimming them. This option provides an easy method to switch between trimming and extending. Fence selects all objects that cross the selection fence. The selection fence is a series of temporary line segments that you specify with two or more fence points. The selection fence doesn't form a closed loop. Crossing selects objects within and crossing a rectangular area defined by 2 points. Some crossing selection of objects to be trimmed are ambiguous. Trim resolve the selection by following a lined rectangular crossing window in a clockwise direction from the first point to the first object encountered. And project non-UCS view. None specifies no projection. The comment trim only objects that intersect with the cutting edge in 3D space. UCS specifies projections onto XY plane of the current UCS. The comment trims objects that don't intersect with the cutting edge in 3D space. View specifies projection aligned the current view direction. The comment trims object that intersect the boundary in the current view. Cutting edge. Select this line for press go. Or you can erase this one. Erase and undo. Erase undo. Erase deletes selected objects. This option provides a convenient method to erase unneeded objects without leaving the trim comment. Undo reverses the most recent change made by trim. Now I want to explain about extend comment. Extends objects to meet the edge of other objects. To extend objects, first select the boundaries, then press enter and select the objects that you want to extend. To use all objects as boundaries, press enter at the first select object prompt. edges, crossing, project, or round. Boundary object selection uses the selected objects to define the boundary edges to which you want to extend an object. Object to extend specifies the objects to extend. Press Enter to end the comment. Also, Shift is a convenience key to relation between trim and extend comment. Crossing, select objects within and crossing a rectangular area defined by 2 points. Some crossing selection of the objects to be extended are ambiguous. Extend resolves the selection by following along the rectangular crossing window in a clockwise direction from the first point to the first object encountered. And project, the same as trim, non-UCS, view. Undo, the same one. For extend, hold the shift, trim, extend, trim, extend, extend, hold the shift, trim, trim, trim. Extend, hold the shift, trim, 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 extend. In the next session, I want to continue about another modifier comment.